what is happening. Hello Internet. So I just put new brake levers on my felt road bike. There are some little things that you can do that will vastly increase your chances of success when bleeding these brakes. I thought I'd make a quick video, walk you through kind of how I bleed the brakes and show you what you can do to make sure you get a good solid lever. So there's really only two things that you will find of utmost value. One is a stand or some way that you can move the bike and hold it in different orientations. This is important because you need to be able to allow air to move through the lines and get up to the brake reservoirs. The second thing is one of these Shimano bleed cups. This screws into the top of the brake lever and lets you hold a reservoir of brake fluid. Now this one is designed for the small bleed screw, and these levers have the larger one. It's like 6mm. I don't have an adapter, so I'm gonna just use a spacer. I'll show you that. So, if you've got one of these and you've got some way to hold it in different orientations, you should be set. So I mentioned I don't have the appropriate adapter for this cup and these levers. So what I do is, or what I've done, is I take a small cut of silicone vacuum hose. I think this is probably 3mm. And it fits tightly onto the cup. And what I can do is I can insert it into the opening and thread it in place. So I've put some mineral oil in the cup, just enough so that when I start working on the bike, it'll splash out and get all over the floor. That's very important in this process, is to always make sure you have enough mineral oil to spill on yourself and on the floor. So keep that in mind. So I've got the reservoir about this full, and I've angled it. I've angled the bike such that the reservoir is about level with the oil level, so that it's not setting at some weird angle. This puts the levers about level, and it's a good starting point. So I've got the reservoir about half full, and I've made a catch can. This is some 3mm vacuum hose in a baby food jar, and then I've added some mineral oil just so that the end of the hose is submerged. I'm going to connect this hose to the caliper bleed screw, and then when I open it, fluid should flow from the reservoir through the hose and out through the bleed nipple. And I'm going to open this up and then I'll zoom you in so you can see what's going on in the jar. So I hope you can see the bubbles coming out of the end of the tube here. And what I'll do is I'll let this run until there are no more bubbles coming out. And while you're doing this, keep an eye on the reservoir. If you run that reservoir dry, you'll have to start over. So I'm not getting any bubbles. I think we're good here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera up so you can see the reservoir, and I'll show you how to get the air out of the brake levers. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze the brake lever very, very small amounts and let the air bleed out that's inside the lever. So this is kind of the angle the bike is at when I start. I'm shooting for the level in the reservoir to be pretty much level with the top of the reservoir. I'm going to swing the camera over here. I'm going to show you inside so you can see the bubbles coming out. And what we'll do is we'll bleed the air out of it until there's nothing coming out of the lever at this position, and then we'll switch some positions. As I work air out of the lever, I'm going to be squeezing the lever, but I'm not going to be going crazy. I'll show you what it looks like. I'll show you what the bubbles come out. But this is as much as I'm squeezing that lever. The idea is to work the bubbles out, but not to push a lot of fluid. I think that's all the air bubbles that are going to come out for right now. So let's change orientation of the bike. So now I'm going to change the orientation of the bike. I'm going to bring it up so that that reservoir cup is at the highest point in the system. I want it to be higher than any of the hoses or any other components. Okay, I didn't get much. So now I'm going to switch orientations again and put it back down in that low position and squeeze and see what I get for air. Okay? And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to move the bike around to different orientations, give the lever light squeezes like you see me doing here until I get all of the air out of the system. And each time I get to a point where I'm not getting any more air, I want to change the orientation of the bike and let those bubbles work their way out. And you'll be done when you don't get any more air and when you have a really good solid lever. Any squishiness in your brake lever means there's still air in that system. So it took me about 15 minutes to get all of the air out of the brake lever. I went through, I did both levers. Using this approach, I was able to get levers with good feel. They don't feel squishy, they're good solid levers. I've used this approach on a couple of bikes, I think probably 3 different sets of road levers at this point, and it works fantastic. So hopefully, if you're having trouble with your brake levers, or you just want to look for a different approach that the 100 of other videos on this topic don't cover, give this a try. I've had good luck with it. I hope you will too. So with that, I'm going to wrap this video up. I'd like to say I had a great time making it, and honestly I really did. If you enjoyed it, would you leave me a comment, let me know how it went. And if you found the content interesting, would you consider subscribing to my channel? I enjoy doing this, I'd like to make more videos, and I'd like the quality to improve. And subscribers really give me the motivation to do that. So with that, I'm going to call this video done. So thank you for watching.